Alright guys, so I've been getting some requests to do a tutorial on how to play Love in Vain, or at least the way that I play it, by Robert Johnson. Full disclosure, he played it in open tuning, and I do not. I play it in standard. I've watched the Eric Clapton version a lot, and I think that's where I got a lot of inspiration. I don't remember when I learned this, but it's a long time ago, and I've just been playing this song ever since. But anyway, someone left a comment and wanted a tutorial on how I play it, so I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope this is helpful. And I'll go ahead and start by saying this is in standard tuning. So E, A, D, G, B, and E, our normal standard tuning. And it's in the key of A. I'll go ahead and just play a verse, how I play it, and then we'll break it down. There's really just three parts: the intro, the way you play the verses, and then there's kind of like a little interlude, a little solo that I'll teach, or at least how I play it. And that should be about it. So here we go. I'll just play the intro, a verse, and then the little solo part, and get into it. I followed her to the station, with a suitcase in my hand. Well, I followed her to the station, a suitcase in my hand. Well, I was lonesome, I felt so lonesome, could not help but cry. All my love's in vain. Alright, so that's how I play it. Again, it's different than the Robert Johnson original. It's even different than the Eric Clapton one, I think, because I'm not nearly as good as either one of those, so I just have to kind of play it how I play it. So let me go through that really quickly. We'll start with the intro. It's very simple. It's one chord shape, and then we'll go down. So what you want to do, again, most of the song I just use my thumb and my index finger on the fretting, or excuse me, on the picking hand. And so you want to kind of keep what Robert Johnson did was like a droning thumb, and you just kept it going with the beat on the bass there. And also it'll be an alternating bass line on when we get to the 4 chord and then the 5 chord. Again, this is just a 12-bar blues, so if you don't know what a 12-bar blues is, just really quickly, it's 4 beats on the 1, in this case an A, and then 2 beats on the 4 chord, which in this case is a D, and back to your A, the 5 chord, which is an E, and then to a D, and then there's a turnaround, which is just the 1 and the 5, and then you start back over. So that's what this song is kind of built around. So let's go through really quickly the intro. The first chord shape is this, which Robert Johnson uses a lot. And it is, what you do is you play the A string open with your thumb, and then you only use your pointer finger to come up and strum up. And what it is you've got on the G string the 9th fret, the B string the 8th fret, and then on the high E string also the 9th fret. So that shape right there is going to make that sound for you. Alright, and so what you want to do is you want to kind of bend up a little bit and shake vibrato, if you will. And it comes up with that noise, and you can slide down from anywhere to start the song. Then what you want to do is 1 beat of that, and then you just take everything you just did and move it down a half step down a fret. So 1, hit it again, and then you hit your other one. All right, and then do one more half step. All right, so it'd be. All right, one more time. right, and then after that, you're gonna play this chord. Now what this is, it's a variation of like an A7-ish. So what you wanna do is you wanna bar on the second fret, you're doing again an open A, and then you're gonna bar the D string of the the second fret of the D string, second fret of the G string, and the second fret of the B string. Then you're gonna use your pinky. This is a bit of a stretch. And you're going to stretch it out to the E string, the high E string of the 5th fret to get that A note. All right, and it's going to sound like this. And you're just going to do the upstroke again. All right, and that's going to end this little phrase before we get to the turnaround. So it's going to be, again. Okay, and that's going to be the chord change right there. So from the top, we got our sliding down to this chord. All right, now after you hit that chord, the next part is going to be, and this is the walk down and turnaround here we've got. So basically what you want to do is you're not going to be playing the this bass string anymore. The A, you're going to go down to the D string. And that's going to start, and you can use either your middle or your ring finger. It doesn't matter, whichever one you want to use. I prefer to use the middle, but you can use your ring finger. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it down on the D string of the 5th fret, and then also you're going to keep your pinky on the high E string of the 5th fret. And you're going to keep that rooted. That does not move. All right, and then you're just going to take it down a half step each time, down to the 3rd fret. All right, so it's going to sound like 5th fret, 4th fret, to the 3rd fret. Now you've got two options from here. A lot of times you can hear Robert Johnson going down all the way down to the 2nd fret. Okay, and you probably have to change fingers there. I don't think you can't really do it with whether you do it middle finger. You're gonna probably have to change to your index finger once you get to the 2nd fret there of the D string, but you just keep it going, walking it down. It's a really cool turnaround. It's going to help you in not just this song, but a lot of blues, a lot of Robert Johnson. And so I really recommend you learning it. But you're going to probably change. You can change here. It really doesn't matter. What you're going to do is you're going to walk it down from the 5th fret all the way down to the 2nd of the D string. You're never moving your pinky finger. Now, that's one option. The one I like to do, kind of spices it up, a little bit more fun to play, is you go. So this is going to be, instead of going to the 2nd on the D string, instead of going there, you do a hammer on to the 3rd fret of the high E string, and you're hammering on and pulling off. So what that is hammering on and holding your pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string, hammering on to the 3rd fret of the high E string, and then pulling it off into an open note. All right? So that's going to sound like together. All right, and then you're going to go into an E7 chord. All right, an E7 chord is an open, low E, 2nd fret of the A string, open D string, 1st fret of the G string, open B, open E. And then you can also throw, if you want to, you can put your pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string, and it gives that sound. Both are cool, either one works. So from the top of our intro we have, and I'll go slow. All right, so that's a turnaround. And that's going to start the song. So now let's get into the verses really quickly. All right? And the good thing about YouTube is if I'm going too fast, I don't know, this is the first one I've ever done. Leave in the comments below if you like what I'm doing, and maybe I can do it again on another song. If I'm going too fast, good thing about YouTube is you can always pause and keep on going. So let's go ahead and start with the verses. In this one, in the verses, you're really using the droning on the bass strings. And this, we're going to start with the chord that we learned. Remember this little monster. that we have. Again, barring all of them on the second except for the low E, or the open bass note of the A, and then the high E is going to be a pinky on the fifth. All right, and so you're going to do this. You're going to go. So what that is now you're going to incorporate your middle finger on the third fret of the high E, and you're going to alternate by taking your pinky off and leaving that for that G note to come out on the high E string. So it's going to sound like, I followed her, switch to the station, back to the 5, the suitcase in my hand, switch again. All right, so that's just a little switch each time. All right, so we'll try that again. I followed her, switch to the station, back to the pinky on the fifth, the suitcase in my hand, back to the third. All right, so that's a really cool thing to really spice up your playing, and I think it sounds really, really cool, and it makes it almost sound like two different chords going there, but it's really the same one with just a variation. All right, and the next part is this. It's actually a D7 with an F sharp on the top, which means you're gonna make a regular D7 on the bottom, which is your open D string, second fret of the G, first fret of the B, second fret of the high E. Okay, now you can use your thumb if you like doing that, and I do sometimes, but not particularly with this song, to come and get the low E string on the second fret. That's gonna be your F sharp note. But I like to use my middle finger and make the shape of the D7 with my pointer finger on the first fret of the B string, my ring finger on the second fret of the G string, and then my pinky on the second fret of the E string. Okay, so that gives that kind of sound there. And then I like to use that. So what that is open E string to a walk up to the F sharp note. So it's open E string, 1 on the E string, 2 on the low E string. Okay? So the way that'll sound in the context is if we come out of this, Father, switch to the station, back to the 5, suitcase in my hand, back to the 3. All right, and then listen. Do it again. Okay, so what that is you're doing it. It's kind of just fun to practice that, right? So what all I'm doing is I'm doing the walk, and then keeping that, and then doing the up strums while picking the bass note with my thumb. All right, quick note here. You can keep your bass, when I say droning, I guess I should explain this. When you keep your bass going with your thumb, it's not enough to keep it open, because that would sound... You want to use your palm and kind of put the meat of your palm up here on the strings, and you just want to make sure it's muting this one. You don't want it muting all of them. It's not going to sound good. You just want it muting the bass note that you're playing. And that takes some time to practice. Station, a suitcase in my hand. All right, switching. Follow to the station, suitcase in my hand. All right, so after you get out of the 4, we're going back to the 1. Remember in a 12-bar blues? Then what we're gonna do, this is kind of cool. This he's gonna play an A, like that one that we already did, but instead of staying on that one, he plays it 1, and then he's gonna play an E, and then back to the A. So let me show you what that E is. Remember the shape we did earlier? Here, and also our D7 shape? We're just gonna take, it's even better to just start from the D7 shape. And you slide that up 1 whole step, okay? Which means you're gonna have your middle finger on the 4th fret of the G, pointer finger on the 3rd fret of the B, and ring finger on the 4th fret of the high E, and you're gonna play this low E note. All right, so what that's gonna sound like is you're gonna go 1, okay? So that chord that we know, That's a hard change. Practice that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start from the top. We got Florida to the station, a suitcase in my hand. Lord, I followed to the station, suitcase in my hand. Watch. Switch back to the A. Now you can either keep that when you switch back to the A, or you can do your thing again. All right, you're going back down to the 3rd fret with the middle finger. It really doesn't matter. You pick. Sometimes I do stay there. Sometimes I go back to the 3. But it doesn't really matter because it's blues and it's improvisation at the end of the day. So after you get out of this, do your thing. Ready? Okay, and then after this, you were going to end on the 5. Well, I was lonesome, I felt so lonesome. Just a regular E7 chord that we learned at the beginning. And then back to the walk up, back to your D7. I could not help but cry. And then he does the All My Love in Vain. He sings it while he's playing. Now, this might be the hardest part while you're singing and playing, right? So after All My Love's in Vain, and then he goes, plays the open A, and then we're back to our walk down. All my love's in vain. And we already learned that, okay? That's just the... And again, you can do all my love's in vain. Or all my love's in vain. Whichever one you want to do. It's good. So that's the verses. You can do that through all... There's, I think, 3 verses, and you can do that through all 3 of them. Okay? And there's variations you can do. You know, if you know this chord right here that Robert Johnson also used, it's a variation of like, and they're kind of the same family there. All that is open A. And apologize for the grass cutting outside, but these things happen when you live in an apartment. But anyway, so it's open A string, first finger on the 5th fret of the D string, the 6th fret of the G string, and then your middle finger on the 5th fret of the B string. Okay, you can use that as well as these. That's just another thing to do. But anyways, that's for a different lesson probably. I can show you all the different Robert Johnson ways there are to play a song in A, because he had tons of them and they're really cool and interesting to learn. But that might be a different lesson for a different day. But anyways, let me get into the last part, which is the solo, or kind of an improv breakdown, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so he does this like, ooh, Willie Mae, like, you know, he's like singing that. Also, I hope you like this shirt, if I didn't already mention it. This is an old, ragged shirt, but it's Robert Johnson. It's his birthday week. I think his birthday is going to be on Sunday, May 8th, so shout out. Anyways, this is a really cool part, and I really like playing it. Instead of singing the Willie Mae part, just play this. Unless you want to sing the Willie Mae part, keep it really authentic. I like that. But anyways, again, you're just using these 2 fingers, and it's going to be like this. That's the first part. Now you're keeping it in the 12-bar blues. Keep 12-bar blues in your mind. All right? Keeping that in the 12-bar blues even in our solo. And this is cool because this is one of those things that's super easy, but it sounds cool and it makes you look cool. And that's really why we all learn guitar, right? I'm just kidding. There's a lot of other reasons to play guitar. But this is definitely one of those things that sounds harder than it really is. And don't be scared. A lot of people get scared when you see somebody going up here and they think it's going to be harder. It's really not, all right? So what you want to do, your first shape, you're going to slide from wherever you want to. All you're doing is you're going to play keep droning on the open A string. Then your middle finger is going to be on the B string of the 14th fret, all the way up to the 14th fret. And then your pointer finger on the 12th fret of the high E. It's gonna make that noise together, right? And you're just gonna pinch those together. And the only thing you're gonna do to switch it is you're gonna go up, or excuse me, down a half step on both of those, a fret on both of those, which would put your middle finger on the 13th fret and of the B string, and then your pointer finger on the 11th fret of the high E string. So it's gonna sound like this. That's the only time you change. 1, 2, 3. Can you kind of feel that out, all right? All right, so it's just you're coming up with your, that's all it is. And then picking it. That's your index finger and your thumb. That's all it is. Do it twice. All right, now it's time to switch to the 4, which would, all right, all that is your thumb on the D string, your middle finger on the G string of the 11th fret, and then your pointer finger on the 10th fret of the B string. All right, then all you want to do there is you want to take your ring finger and alternate between the 10th fret of the B string and the 12th fret of the B string. So it goes, alternate, or however you want to do it. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of put those 2 notes in there. That's all it is that the B note right there, and then what would that be? B flat 8. All right, just putting those 2 in there, right? And then back to the first part, which is, all right, and then you want to go to the 5, which is very simple. It's this kind of same thing you got here, okay? And then you want to move it all the way up. Okay, so you're here, move it a whole step or 2 frets down the fretboard this way. And then you just, so that's going to be your middle finger on the 12th fret of the B, your index finger on the 10th fret of the E, and then you want to play your low E note. And then back to your D shape that we learned. And then just your walk down. So from the top you've got, I'll do it slow. All right, so guys, that's basically how you play it. I hope that this helps some. And again, this is my first tutorial, so I probably need to work on my teaching. But I hope that this helps, and I hope this at least gives you a foundation. I would encourage you to go listen to Robert Johnson's version, also Eric Clapton's version, and I think that would help you a lot as well. And so anyways, good luck, and let me know in the comments below if you like it or if you want to hear another tutorial of a blues song or any song that I've put up on my YouTube page. If you are already not, like and subscribe to my YouTube page and turn on that notification bell. I'm going to try to be putting out a song a week and a lot of blues stuff. So if you like blues, I hope that you like my channel. So anyways, have a great day, and I hope this helps.